is Paola. Welcome to Mindalia TV livestream, where thousands of people around the world gather daily to watch the interviews and talks organized by MindaliaTV.com. Angel Ribo will conduct today's interview. He is a CEO consultant, philanthropist, and host for Mindalia TV. And it is our pleasure to introduce to you in this occasion our guest, Engel Jones. Angel loves a great conversation. He is a podcast host for the 12 Minute Convo, and his passion is to help you find your own unique, real self. But right before we start our show, I would like to remind you that there's a few ways to help Mindalia TV help you. One of them is to subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a like on this video, or leave a positive comment below. Please know that on this way, you're helping Mindalia TV reach to even more people who could benefit from the content of this channel. And to allow your interaction, there's a chat on your screen that you can use to ask any questions to our guest today. Without further delay, please welcome Angel Ribo and Engel Jones.
Thank you very much, Paola. Hi, Angel. Thank you very much for being here. It's a pleasure, and you are super excited.
Yeah, it's definitely a pleasure to be here, Angel.
Awesome. Thank you. So to start the conversation, so that everybody starts knowing who Engel Jones is, why do you like numbers so much?
I love numbers because I'm fascinated by how they connect in life. It started by when we would travel, we would have to see a taxi from really far. And the numbers, you would need to see the license plate. And I remember remembering those numbers. As time went by, I was fascinated to see how numbers can connect. Like sometimes I would see the 4-digit number and remember a friend's phone number and call that person. And the person would be so ecstatic at that particular time to hear me. So I've seen numbers interact in ways that have been pretty fascinating, Angel.
Amazing. And obviously I'm asking you this question because I already know a little bit about you, but what's the role that those numbers play today on the way that you help humanity, Angel?
Yeah. That's a great question. I never looked at it from a numbers point of view. What I can say, so if we're talking about the goals and the way I set goals, 1001 has been the number that I've set in conversations in 3 months in 2016. And going for huge numbers in terms of individuals that I speak to, it's a bit of has and have impacted my life tremendously, because it's within that I learn more. I learn through conversations, and I've had a ton of conversations. Now episodes 1987 in the space of what can be 2 years.
And so we kind of started from the end. So where all this journey of Engel Jones start?
Where did it start? That's a very long conversation, right? I would say my journey started in the womb. I'm joking.
You started talking. Inside your mom.
Yeah, my mom. Definitely. I mean, we're laughing, and at the same time, yes, my mother. My mother has been very integral in my growth from a spiritual perspective. Her spiritual strength has resonated with our entire family. And in that, it has helped me to develop tremendously as an individual from an instinctive perspective and an intuitive perspective. She has really, really impacted us by her faith. In that, I'd say that's definitely where my journey started, from the depth that she shared to us and then portrayed that to others, then creating an attraction that helps build relationships through conversations that changes your life and the lives of others.
What's the power that conversations have, Angel?
That's a great question again. Ooh, is this going to be one of those interviews when I keep saying great question, great question?
It's up to you. I mean, I'm blessed, and obviously, Mindalia TV will be also extremely grateful for
Yeah.
saying that and for answering those questions. Please, thank you for being so generous.
Yeah, that being said, just thanks to Mindalia as well for having me on right now and having the opportunity to do this. Yeah, just to say thanks. Yeah, power. Power is something I've found. So I've seen two personalities exist in power, and I'll use my sons as example. One of my sons, I like to call him, and I told a friend today that I'm going to start calling my son Boss Boy. Right? Because he definitely lets you know what you should do, when you should do it, and how you should do it. And then there's my other son, who he is powerful as well, but he has a way that he finesses into what he wants to get manifested. Yeah. He has a way that he does it differently. And I've found that combining the two is true power. True power being a power that it's like water. It's the best metaphor I can use, or simile. It's like water because it's gentle, but yet it gets the work done.
Excellent. You mentioned that you've done more, or you've had more than 1,900 conversations.
Yeah.
Excellent. Obviously, after 1,900 conversations, I guess your memory is still selective, right? So you still are able to remember one of those conversations more than others. What would you say is the common denominator of those that you still remember well?
Yeah. It's like so all right. So just to go back a bit, I've actually jumped and dived into these conversations with the idea of being a test subject to see what sticks and what doesn't stick. And it's really fascinating to me what does stick. So just recapping to our conversation, there are things and elements that connect. I was looking at one of your interviews with Dr. Angel, right? And you were saying, it was funny to have a conversation with him, his name being spelled as Angel, just like yours. And when I had my conversation with you, it was a similar scenario. There's an energy in truth. And as much as I'm not able to remember all conversations, when I do listen back, so it's like my personal CRM tool. I can say I'm going to meet Angel. I listen to the podcast 12 Minute Convo, and it's as though I'm there again. And we can take up our relationship exactly where we left off. The conversations that stick seem to be the ones that definitely peer through with truth. The individuals who come into it, and it's as though they're an open book. They are an open book. And I'm fascinated by that because we've been pretty closed individuals as we grew up, keeping things to ourselves, not understanding as we grow that it's important to share. But who you share is important too, as well, right? So not to ramble on because I have a million things that's popping through, but one night, just like liking numbers, Angel, one night I had this person on and randomly we changed times and his name was Nicholas Snap. And then I went to sleep, right? This was like 30 conversations in a day I was doing. So I would take quick naps. And he had the conversation. I asked him what was his earliest childhood memory. He told me it was one time he was running around the pool and he eventually fell into the pool and he almost drowned, right? In fact, he drowned. He was under there for like 7 to 8 minutes and his neighbor fished him out. And then I took a nap. And then I got up, missed the other person I was supposed to have, and then connected with another young lady, Michelle. And when I asked her earliest childhood memory, She said it was one time she fell into a pool. And I look around. I'm in a room by myself, and I look around because I it's like, no, somehow no. Do you? And I said in the interview, it was around episode 223, 224. I said, hey, do you know Nicholas Snap? And of course, she's like, no, I don't know him. Where is he from? And those type of things within the conversations are the things that really fascinated me. How we can see repetition, how we can see themes built in a day, and that for me brought confirmation to how themes are built through our lives and how connectivity occurs throughout our lives. Make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely, makes sense. I mean, Mindalia, TV audience is used to hear amazing, unbelievable stories. So you just said like this massive synchronicity is something that is definitely grabbing the attention, and we are familiar with. So thank you very much for sharing it.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. So let's go back to the power of conversations, right? Because you just said that you find very interesting commonalities, and you keep on putting yourself on the spot and asking, what else can I do to have more conversations and to get to build those relationships you just said. You have a challenge in front of you that starts soon, right? And you briefly mentioned it. Would you mind sharing with us what's that challenge and what's the goal that you are trying to achieve with that challenge?
Sure, my pleasure. So I have two things that I'm doing now. One is uncomfortable to say because it's not usually the thing I do, which is to raise $48,000 in 12 days. And the way we're doing that is we're tagging back on the podcast guests to donate to me, my family, going to the US and Canada via RV through every state to meet with those people that were on the podcast. And that's 1,001 at least in 12 weeks. So that is the big challenge at hand right now. And so we've set up a GoFundMe, and it's intriguing to see what's happening. People are offering their homes. People are, like, one guy today offered his studio in New York as a hub for us to have conversations. And New York, I had a few people well in New York. And to see, again, the idea is to explore the power of a conversation. And that's what I've seen. I've seen conversations that connected from 2013 and lay a fine thread to today. And I'm excited. I'm really excited to see what it sets up in my legacy, what it sets up for my children. And as much as I may not be able to see for my children, I hope that it is something that helps them, that effects change.
It was very interesting to hear the way you were describing your two kids, how different they are, but how they complement to define the concept of power. And you also mentioned about your mother and the influence that she had spiritually on your development. Do you think that she has also impacted the development of your kids, Angel?
Yeah, most definitely. Definitely she has. And I think one element that we can add as well is Amanda, my wife, and her way of power and the way she taught me about power. In life, it's really intriguing how mindset affects how you learn. Amanda's model is one I would, like, in college times, I would be like, oh, no, you won't get things done. Like, you lose with that model, right? You need to jump in. You need to go at it. You need to raw. And Amanda showed me a model that's so powerful as well. And I think we see it reflected in my son, Amaziah and Jahaziel, where I am somewhat like Jahaziel and Amaziah is like Amanda. And her power mode as well has helped us a lot, which is listening. You're doing it, right? The power of listening. So I guess we can, again, Jahaziel's model. So we have the bossy model, which is the speaking, and we have Amaziah's model, which is the listening. Combined, they're powerful. Balanced, they're even more powerful.
And what's the role that the spirituality has played in your life?
Could you say that again, please, Angel?
What's the role that spirituality has played in your life?
Oh, definitely spirituality is the core of who I am. I like, again, the metaphor of running, marathon running specifically, where statistically and scientifically, it doesn't make sense that my feet keep moving. But the spirit man pushes on. There's the pain, but the push. Even in the concept of fasting and not eating, not having meals, but being able to be even more energetic without meals. It speaks so much to the spiritual side of what is possible when tapped into what can be achieved. And goals do that. Goals allow you to test, just like the marathon, to test the value of your own unique real self. And I think we could put in your own unique real spirit right there. Yeah, it helps to test that. And testing it, I believe, is the way to learn more. Because, it's one thing to sit here and talk about what we can do or what we could do. But my friend, it's not until you get out there and do something that you learn more as to who you are and what you can do.
How do you try to, all this wisdom that you and Amanda, because you just mentioned her, how important that her model is, how are you trying to leave a legacy to your kids? How are you doing it when it goes down to educating and raising your kids, Angel?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge with the educational system that is at hand. There are things that I really don't agree with how my children have to learn. What we do is surrounded around something that Zig Ziglar teaches, which is the wheel of life. And our life is an attempt to keep balance throughout mental, spiritual, career, physical, financial, personal, and family. And we build goals around that. So that in itself helps us to teach them life skills, what's necessary for life, as opposed to what's necessary on any level, be it one only. My goal is that they are well balanced, that they can have conversations that are powerful, that are not one-sided, and hopefully that they can continue, if they do choose to, right, to continue with that power.
When you do something consistently and repeatedly and you are successful doing that, you learn a few things. Would you mind sharing with our audience, with Mindalia TV audience, a few maybe pieces of advice about what you learn on those, after doing so many interviews and talking to having so many powerful conversations?
Yeah, sure. So for those that are listening, there are questions that I ask on my podcast. And the questions, you can listen and write them down and then answer them yourselves. It's what I'm doing it for. The idea is that you can see so many other people have these conversations and you can have an opportunity to reflect on the conversation, understanding uniqueness. So I would suggest look back into your past, look to who that child is, and connect the dots along life. Connect the numbers, if you would. Connect who you truly are, because your uniqueness is beautiful. The key, test it. So you may not be sure. Test it, and then test it some more. And then if you need to, course correct, First reflect, then course correct. The key is to keep on going, but challenge yourself, challenge your uniqueness, because it's key. It's the key. It's what we need. The entire world. We need your uniqueness expressed in a servant model where, I mean, I use my thing, my uniqueness to serve. And I make that pretty clear. There has to be the option of serving. Of course, there's the balance of the business side. But please, just like Angel is serving here today, right? It's core to who we are. It's like food for the spirit, serving. So that's my key points. Definitely, again, investigate your uniqueness and then test it and then reflect and then course correct and then go again.
This challenge, this upcoming challenge, and with these 1001 conversations that you will have face to face on your trip to the US and Canada coming up, this trip, what do you expect that's going to happen during those 1000 conversations?
I believe things are going to connect on a level that's past my expectation, because I do expect a lot. I expect that as I go along and people start to see me and interact with me one-to-one, face-to-face, and my wife, my beautiful wife as well. I call her Sweet Rice, by the way. All right. But as people start to interact with us, I'm hoping that other people are inspired to do more. Because the question I'm going to be asking on that tour, the questions around a main question is, what have you done to be where you are today? And I'm going to dive deep into that, because so many times we aren't able to express that, you know, because we're afraid, right? And then it's scary, like what we went through. But sometimes individuals need to understand what it costs to wear the shoes you're wearing. And that's very important, so that now I can say, okay, I want to wear Angel's shoes and I'm willing to do what he did. But it needs to be understood what was done to be where you are today.
And what happens if the answer to that question is counterintuitive?
I'm open.
Are you going to record all those conversations?
Yes, the idea is to record 12-minute live conversations, as well as what we'll be doing is, of course, sharing snippets while we're on the road. I think there are fun things that are going to happen, and we're going to be sharing, because I really want people to have an insight to what it takes to do this. A lot of people are like, hey, so what is it like to do what you've done by having podcast conversations? And I say, well, your butt gets sore, you have to stand, you have to sit, you know, so people want to see that. So hopefully they can see again what I've done to arrive to where I am today. Have you
ever interviewed kids?
Yeah, I have actually. The most fun, yeah. Jamie Slingerland's son, Diego Slingerland, was on my podcast. And then there was an English crew that came through, the Ben Salamis. They came through. It was really fascinating. And then Colby Parks' son came through as well, Jaden Parks. Yeah, I had some children. It was really fascinating.
How do you see, you obviously said already that you have 2 kids. How do you see, what would be your advice? What would be your advice to parents that have kids today, still at school age, that is still home with them? What would be your advice to them?
Well, after doing the podcast and asking what is your earliest childhood memory, I'm always aware of what memories I may be creating with my children, because it's impactful. I mean, I've had 70-year-olds who've spoken about childhood memories as though it happened yesterday and the impact it has on their life. So I would suggest be careful with the memories you're creating for your children, because it's as though it's there. It's something that can be a foundation or something that can be to their detriment. So definitely, hey, and of course there are things you'll have to do, you know, like shouting at your children. Oh, it happens, right? But it's just the simple things, the simple things. Sometimes it's the way my father held me, all right, or the way my mother kissed me. It's simple things that you're doing to be mindful of. That's my advice. Be mindful of what you're doing with your children. It's very impactful.
You mentioned intuition before. How do you use intuition in your everyday life?
In my everyday life, well, it's grown, right? It's grown tremendously. So today I was in my work, right? In preparing, I prepare samples that are for concrete, right? So well, it's like a cement test. So we prepare small cubes, yeah, and it's like blocks. And funny enough, I was thinking about you, Angel, because I was thinking about how in everything there's a principle. In preparing those cubes, there are two layers. So you need to tamp with a rubber bong, like, right, 32 times. And then you place another layer, and then you tamp 32 times again. And I was thinking about life and how necessary it is to build strengths, because it means something needs to be tamping on you 32 times. And then there's something that's thrown on you again. And then it's tamped again. And then it needs to sit. And then it becomes stronger. Again, I use intuition like that. While I'm living, while I'm doing things, I'm always reflecting on how this is a principle that can be applied in another part of life.
What would you say is the number one reason why it's so difficult to, to apply intuition on everybody's life? Why do you think people cannot really consistently apply intuition?
Intuition to some level is faith, a even deeper faith. It's one thing to take out a mortgage, right? Not know exactly how you'll make the payments over 25 years, but do it and have a house. But when it comes to trusting yourself and the insight you have, wow, that could be scary, because then it means that you failed. Now, it's one thing when you've used your intuition, like, I knew that wasn't there, or I knew that was there. But when you have to say, Angel, I'm using my intuition to say that you're a smart individual that can help so many other people, and then you don't do it, Angel, now it's both of us who know. And that's scary, right? That's scary. So I think using intuition is a lot like that faith concept, where the challenge comes back directly on you. And thus, it could be a breakdown or a build-up. But again, the principle I would like to share is that sometimes it's in the breaking down that we can be built up stronger. So you may use your intuition. It may not work the first time. Again, coming back to, hey, dive in, reflect, and course correct. And I mean, just to add one other element, accountability. Have the right people around you that can give you the accountability to achieve the thing you're launching after. Yeah. So yeah, most definitely. That could be one of the reasons, Angel.
Excellent. So you started, when do you start your journey?
Right. So our goal is to start on the 1st of June. However, my parents need to be in the US, and we're course correcting. So possibly the 12th now is when we may need to start. So it's in between the 1st and the 12th of June. Ooh, it's right there. We're coming.
You're more than 1 month away. Don't worry.
Yeah.
How are you going to keep track? I mean, because let's say it's easier to be, interviewing someone using, online technology and keep them on track, keep them on time, right? How are you going to do it with live interviews when everybody will like to ask you about the rest of the journey, and everybody will like to hug you and to praise you and to bless you and all those things? How are you going to do it?
Good question. So again, great question, folks. We said that a lot during this interview, but it is what it is. There's a guy coming on with us called Ryan Dean, and he has something called dreamermade.com. Ryan is going to be that guy. He's going to be the fall guy. He's going to be Angel. Okay, we need to leave now. We need to be in another state in a couple of hours. So he'll be that guy. He'll be managing that aspect of what we're doing. Because yes, it is going to be very challenging to leave. It's one of the things I do not like, which is to leave, right? I mean, imagine I meet you, Angel, and I say, okay, 12 minutes, and we speak, right? And then I say, okay, later, online. Okay, but live, like face to, like you'll hold me, right? You'll hold my hands. You'll be like, and so we'll do that. But one of the things I'm doing is we'll do the 12-minute segment record and then have an open hour or two where we can just chill with people. We call it liming in Trinidad, right? So we'll be able to lime with people, and hopefully that would help tremendously. Yeah, but I'm keeping myself open this time, Angel. I've done the 12-minute conversations 4 in 1 hour. I'm going to attempt to keep life a bit more open and see how it goes on this particular quest.
Do you have in mind some sort of or a few ideas of what you're going to do with all this invaluable material that you have been amassing for so many years?
It's a gift. It's a gift to the world. When I started, it's cost us a ton having these conversations hosted, having these we've never even spoken of it on that level. But if you can imagine what it cost for servers and for hosting, it's cost us a ton to do this. We went into it, my wife and I went into this as this is our gift. This is our gift to the world. And, we don't take things when we die. So it's like, this is my unique, real strength. I go out, I do this, and, let it grow. Let that seed grow into the flower and germinate, and hopefully create more seeds that then create more flowers, and it goes on and on.
Beautiful. Have you already perceived some ripple effect of what you're doing?
Yeah, most definitely, my friend. That list goes on and on. Do you want me to share one story of that?
Of course. Oh, please. As many as you wish.
There are a few. I'll share. So 2013, I went to Entre Leadership, which is a program hosted by Dave Ramsey and his organization, which was a core part of what I'm able to do, which is to become debt-free. I went to this Entre Leadership, and there was this guy standing to the back, and I kept looking at him, wondering why he's standing when everyone is sitting. It's a really nice event, right? Everyone is sitting. Come go figure out. He wanted to be there, and he couldn't get a seat, and he told them he would stand in the back. And this program, they start at 8 and they run to like 7, right? And he's there. Fast forward, he's on the podcast. His name is Steven Scoggins. I have this huge goal to have 1,509 conversations. He's there. We speak virtually and we keep in connect. Fast forward to 2016. He invites me, or was it 2017? I think it's 2017. He invites me to a program he's having in North Carolina. And I'm there, and I get to meet so many other people, which was really the thing for this. I met people in North Carolina because I went online and I said, "Who's in North Carolina?" And people met me every night, Angel. Every single night, and I had a blast in North Carolina. However, Steven Scoggins was that guy. Fast forward to the GoFundMe. Steven Scoggins is the first guy that throws $500 to the biggest donation just before tonight, right? But he just throws that at us. And again, that speaks to the power of one conversation. I went to the back in 2013, just spoke with him. And to see that one story, to see how that impacts. Now, mind you, the money is not even the focus. The conversations this guy and I have had has really transformed my life. And that conference I went to, again, transformation. So, my friend, the conversation and the power of a conversation speaks masses. Side note, I spoke to Angel for 12 minutes, and now I'm speaking to him again. He helped my son when he did a program with my son, right? All from a conversation. It's very, very powerful.
Thank you for your generosity. We're going back to kids. As you know, we're both very, very vested and very concerned and very, blessed to have kids, and we are concerned about their future. Have you realized on your kids and other kids around your kids and around your family, have you realized any difference between the kids today and the kids of previous generations?
Most definitely. My children know a lot more at their age than I knew at my age. There's a similarity though. They repeat. So Dave Ramsey again says something. There's more is caught than taught. And I think the parents, if we were to just switch things, the parents have changed tremendously as well. Could you imagine your father talking to someone in Trinidad and Tobago virtually on a screen? The parents have changed tremendously, and the children are truly a reflection of that. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. In Trinidad, we don't have apples, so we say mango, right? The mango doesn't fall far from the tree. So I think it's really a reflection of who we are and what we're becoming and the speed we are functioning at.
So what are your plans after you come back from your amazing journey to the US and Canada? What is the next gift that the Jones family is going to give to humanity?
Sure. So the reason I'm rushing this to do this in June is because I'm planning my life in a way in segments now, in 12-week segments. So September 19th to December, I'll jump on podcasting again. There are people that have been booking the podcast like crazy already for September. So September to December, that 12-week is going to be podcasting. And then I'm going to do this again, but the plan is for the east of the world. So I'll get to do the London and the Philippines and Australia and China. So I had a few people in China. So that will be I'll be podcasting and then meeting people. So the podcast has evolved now. It's evolved into this model of meeting individuals that I've had conversations with. So that will be definitely my next thing. However, don't hold me to it, because again, I love the concept of reflecting and then course correcting. So I could change courses randomly after reflection and realizing I need to do something differently.
How did you come up with this idea of organizing your life in chunks of 12 weeks?
Yeah, it took a lot of errors and understanding my personality. There's so many things out there, and there's so many people that teach things based on who they are. And I think I've bounced my head up against the wall a million times. I've done things simple like budgeting. I've used budget, I've used Excel, and then I came into this sheet and I used that. And Amanda connected with the writing on the paper, and that worked better than anything else. So I've found with this 12-week format that this works really great for my personality type. I'm a high D on the DISC assessment, which is a personality assessment test. Yeah, I'm a high D, high I, but I've learned that you can train to be a high S, high C. And the 12-week goal gives me that opportunity. Dive in. Everyone knows what I'm doing. There's sanity in the marriage, right? And then I rest, and then again reflect, and then go again. So it's what works right now, Angel.
Okay. And is it a coincidence that your podcasts are 12 minutes long? 12 minutes long?
It's not. If we were to tie that in, there was a group that I was a part of called View from the Top, led by Aaron Walker. And what happened in that group is that was like the starting of a 12-minute convo. I wanted to have conversations with, of course, with everyone in the group. And I came up with this. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I came up with this Excel sheet. And in coming up with this Excel sheet, done by Nico Mellet from Australia, and I started having conversations. But when I played with, should I do 15 minutes or 10 minutes? 12 minutes. And of course, there's a bit more with the number 12, but let's not dive into that, right?
Please, be our guest.
I think 12 is a fascinating number. There's so much things that go around 12. The clock has 12 on it, right? There's a huge ministry that started with 12 disciples, right? The power of 12 is really, 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 really fascinating as you dive deeper. 12 p.m., 12 a.m., there's just a lot that surrounds 12 and the power of 12.
From a physical and spiritual perspective, those perspectives, how do you get ready for such a journey in which you're going to speak with 1,000 people?
Yeah, there's one day at a time. One day at a time. So usually I'm meditating a lot, a bit more. Yeah. I'm reading, I'm reflecting, I write a lot. Writing helps me to empty, so journaling. That helps. I'm not reading that much right now, but I've never done this type of journey, Angel. So what I do know is the podcasting. What we've done with this journey is it's in segments. So I'll be driving more or less for 3 hours. I'll be spending family time for 3 hours. We'll be meditating and reading, having our personal space for 3 hours. We'll be exercising for 3 hours. And that's just the plan. But of course, it will change. So that's what we'll do. Again, we'll balance that mental, spiritual, career, physical, personal, financial, family daily in small snippets.
Excellent. Well, we are reaching the end of like the formal conversation in the interview. Now we're going to be opening up for questions and answers from our audience.
Sure.
So please just hold on. Let me see if the computer is ready. Okay. So first question is, how can we truly listen?
Yeah. That's a great question. So for me to listen, I needed to maximize the amount I could hear. And it's a model I've used with my learning. If you want to learn Spanish, it's one thing to go to school and do 2 hours. But if you can like have Spanish all around you, music, be Spanish, TV, Spanish, everything you read Spanish, then it affects how you listen. And it's very similar in conversations. Start having more conversations so that you can start picking up on things with your sight, the way people sit, the way they stand, the tones. That happens as you start to do it more times. So my thing is always, okay, how can we expand what we're doing 100 times, 1,000 times, so that we can grow in skills even faster? And that's my thing. I like to grow in skills fast, the ones I like. And the way I do that is to, again, like fill up as much as possible and then build a skill. So my thing, again, hopefully I've answered your question, is get more around you and then of hearing, and then you'll find yourself naturally listening.
Perfect. Excellent. Next question. What do you think about small talk?
Small talk is good in the right scenario, but 12-minute convos gives you a grand opportunity to not have small talk. So structuring questions is very important. If you do like small talk, then ensure the person that you're having a conversation with likes small talk, because otherwise it doesn't go too good. If you do not like small talk, then please have a structure and let the person who likes small talk understand that you do have a structure, because small talk has a place. It definitely does in my life. However, I don't like too much small talk.
Okay, fair enough. Next question. How can I bring out my own unique self?
Yeah. So just to coin that, we've developed a workbook called Y.O.U.R.S, and it stands for your own unique real self. And that book in it has questions that you answer, and then you are able, hopefully, to connect the dots to understand who you are and your own unique real self. But my friend, please understand that it is in the doing. It is in the doing that you'll be able to create a brand of your own unique real self. There aren't any microwave models here. I would strongly suggest stay away from that. What will work is that you've identified, wow, as a child, I love to do this. And coming through my life, I love to do this. So now I'm going to attempt to do this more times than I usually have done it and see how that works. And again, set a small time. It doesn't have to be 12 weeks. It could be 3 weeks of doing it. And then see, again, stop, reflect, course correct.
Excellent. Next question. What do you mean by challenge your uniqueness?
Yeah. When I was saying that, I was like, ooh, I wonder how that song is on the other side. When I say challenge your uniqueness, I think the question before answers it a bit, where you set a goal surrounding what you have identified is your uniqueness. For example, let's say you love to draw and you've identified that. Then I would suggest that you set a goal to draw X amount of times in X amount by this deadline. And then you see how that works in your life. Because what's going to happen is there are dynamics that are going to occur. Because you'll need to get the paintbrushes, and then there may be a conversation when you go get that connects to something else, and then it connects and connects and connects. So when I say challenge your uniqueness, I mean put a challenge to your uniqueness. Test, reflect, and course correct.
Excellent. Next question. How to approach someone who has a hard time talking about their feelings?
Yeah. On the podcast, I've had individuals that have come on, and I've found that the ones that have challenges expressing their feelings are some of the deepest people. We could say most deepest, yeah? We'll make up that. So some of the most deepest people, when you dig into that conversation, I would say approach with love. An approach with boundaries by setting and understanding what are the boundaries you can communicate with. And that looks like, hey, I wanted to know if we could have a conversation. Would this evening be okay, or would tomorrow be better for you? And in that conversation, if that person says, well, tomorrow will be better, okay, can we just go really deep in our conversation for just like 5 minutes and then that be it? So you're setting boundaries where the individual has a space to exit, which is important. That way they can come in, express, and then respect the boundaries. Like if you say 5 minutes, please don't take them for a 15-minute run, right? Like respect the boundaries. And again, go go delicately, because sometimes it's because of things that you don't want to open, right? So, or the person doesn't want to open. So be careful. But if you do love that person, it's worth doing what's necessary for them to express and share that with you.
Excellent. Okay. There's someone asking, am I still on time to be on your tour in the US and Canada?
Yeah, sure. So I'm interviewing past podcast guests. And I'm not sure exactly how that will go, because the idea is to do 1,001, but that gives us some level of control. Because if I begin podcasting with people that were not on the podcast, that could go really crazy, really fast. So what you can do is email Hope at 12minuteconvos.com, and Hope will share exactly what's necessary to get on the podcast for the September to December segment 2018.
Could you repeat the email address, please?
Sure, no problem. Hope at 12minuteconvos.com. You'll have to spell 12
Yes,
and minute convos, CONVOS.com.
Excellent. Good. Next question. How to identify someone's powers through conversation?
So if we're talking about a convo, it's short. It'll be challenging if it's the first time around the city, but you can have a general idea. You'll understand it by, so there's introverts and extroverts, one. An extrovert will go all out on you in that conversation, and that would be great. An introvert would probably retract naturally. So there's just that aspect. Identifying other powers, I wouldn't put, you see, it's borderline on judging, and it's very important to be careful with that. So again, asking the right questions. Sometimes asking, what is your true power? Like, just ask the question instead of attempting to go wrong then wrong. Ask the question, what is your true power? Is it okay if I ask you, what is your true power? Again, it's powerful questions, asking powerful questions, but understanding the respect that needs to be there for the individual you're asking.
Excellent. Next question. What do you consider are great communication tools in a conversation?
Yeah. You know, there are some people that suggest you should make eye contact when you're having conversation. I don't think that's always a great idea. So great communication tools. All right, so let me share what I use. When I'm having a communication with someone face to face, I'm usually interacting more with how they feel than how I feel. And that shows some level of care. And that doesn't look like me being pushy with it, but opening up spiritually to let you know that you are safe with me. And that looks like to me as whatever you are saying to me here, that's it. It drops on the ground and that's it. I'm not repeating it unless you need me to. I think that in itself is something that is communicated naturally, but you have to have that mindset, and then the individual pass off with it. It's, for example, in my earlier working days, I was in this lab and I would be by myself, and individuals would come in and they would start sharing some things, and I would be like, are you sure you should be sharing this with me? And it's because of posture. There's a posture in your life and the way you walk. If you're open to receiving and then helping, I believe that is somehow interpreted from a human instinctive model far past our understanding.
Yeah, you mentioned actually before, I just remember you mentioned it together, instinct versus intuition.
Yeah.
Did they hear you well?
Yeah.
How do they combine in a powerful conversation, Angel?
Well, instinct is, for me, physical. Intuition, spiritual. How do they combine? I think it's a fight. It's like a war sometimes, because instinctively I can see someone walk into my space and be afraid because of what society has taught me. And when I say society, I mean growing up as a child, where you live, who you've been around, and then there's intuition that comes in. No, this is safe. This person is safe. And there's a fine line between judgment, where you have that conversation, and again, it speaks to the power of a conversation. And then you challenge whether it's instinct you should go with or intuition. And of course, that happens over time, and it spins out and spins in. So I hope I've described it, but it's the best way I can describe it. Instinct versus intuition. It's always, yeah, like I don't want to call it positive and negative, but it's always there. And a conversation is the thing that can help you through understanding if it's correct or if it's correct.
Okay, good. What does unconditional love do to a conversation?
Wow, unconditional love is key. Yeah, whoever said that already knows that it's key. Unconditional love is key. Again, I said judgment, and judgment is definitely the negative side of it. The positive side is unconditional love. It opens up. There's a warmth, right? Unconditional love. And I do hope that my words come through with that rhythm, that vibe, unconditional love.
All right, next one. How can we all speak our truth and be effective communicators?
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I was talking to my mom today, and we were talking about this to some level. First, find out if the person even cares to know your truth. Sometimes they don't. And I think that's very important to understand. Does this person need to know my truth? Do they want to know my truth? And then move on. Because only speaking your truth, it isn't empowering. Speaking your truth to people who need it and learn and grow from it, that is definitely empowering.
Excellent. Next question. My loved one has a hard time listening to someone else's personal feelings. This makes him look like he's uptight or very conservative. How can I help him overcome that?
Yeah, so I'll always spin these type questions onto the person that is asking them, right? And the way I'll answer it is that given the fact that you are able to see that person's weakness, and understanding that that person is your loved one and they've chosen you, means that they see that as a strength in you. And what that person needs is a lot more of that love, and they will incrementally grow to be more of that love that you share with them. I know it can be challenging. Ooh, it's like, why can't you just be like me? Right? Sometimes. But you will be surprised with your consistency, with your dedication, how you will see change. And I'm guessing you've already seen some change from start point to now.
Excellent. And that was the last question, Angel. I would really like to ask you, how can our Mindalia TV audience find you easily, Angel?
Facebook is pretty good. I'm maxed out on Facebook now. 12 Minute Convos group on Facebook. We're beginning to become more active. There are 8,000 people in there, and I found that the group went pretty silent on us. So we're starting to do lives, and we'll be sharing the tour as we go along in that group. So 12 Minute Convos, again, spell out 12 minute, the word 12. 12 Minute Convos are on Facebook. I would say that's the best way to connect with us. I love Facebook. It's like the tool where we can get in and get out pretty quickly. LinkedIn as well is somewhere if you want to connect on a professional level. There as well. So LinkedIn and Facebook, my two tools for communication. I do not like email. I find it a task to go hit reply right, but hit me a message on LinkedIn or Facebook, and you'll probably get a quick response.
Excellent. Well, I have to say we've enjoyed really, really a lot to have you here with us. I mean, we've interviewed a lot of people, and you are definitely, someone that is standing out. The fact that you do consistently so many things so consistently, and that's actually part of your message, is so empowering. So we're really, really grateful. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for sharing so much, Angel, today. Anything else you would like to add, please?
Oh, no,
go ahead.
Thank you, Angel. Like, you are love and you operate in love. I really appreciate you. So, I mean, keep on keeping on. And as you serve, I do pray that, you're always refilled with the energy that's necessary, which happens, right? But you'll always be refilled, my friend, to be able to continue doing what you're doing.
Excellent. So all the best to you, to your kids, to Amanda. All the best for your journey. All the best for your endeavors in the near future. We're gonna be watching you online, and to all our Mindalia TV audience all over the world. Again, this is Angel Ribo with Mindalia TV, and thank you very much for being with us today. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.